Resident Evil 9 sucks, is what I would say if I didn't have a brain. I'm not going to lie, this game is decent, but I honestly didn't find it becoming one of my favorite Resident Evils. Everywhere I go, everybody is rating Resident Evil 9 as one of the best Resident Evil games that they have ever played, if not the best. I don't understand where all this glaze is coming from. This game is a really good horror game. That actually scared me, bro. Oh my god. But sadly, it's not the only genre it's trying to do. Resident Evil 9 is focused on survival, horror, and action. Grace's part is on the spectrum of horror survival, as it is honestly closer to Outlast than Resident Evil 2. Meanwhile, Leon is just pure action. And while his gameplay feels amazing, and his actions just have so much aura, like, oh my god, look at his aura, bro. Bro, what the hell? My biggest complaint is the fact that it feels closer to Resident Evil 6 than the action of Resident Evil 4. If I am being completely honest, out of all the RE engine games that have been released, this one for me does nothing too crazy. Ranking all the RE engine games from the best to worst, I would probably have Resident Evil 4 Remake at the top because it's just peak. Please watch my video on it. I love that game so much. RE2 Remake as the second because I feel that it really excels at survival horror. Resident Evil 7 as I think it's a perfect balance of between pure horror and survival. Then maybe I'd have Village or Resident Evil Requiem at this spot, fighting for 4th or 5th place. I'm not really sure since I haven't played Village in a while, so I can't really make a decision. But right now, that's where it's ending up. And then, of course, finally Resident Evil 3 because it's Resident Evil 3. Now that we got that out of the way, let me explain why Resident Evil 9 is ranked in that position and why I feel the way I feel. The best part about Resident Evil 9 is Grace's campaign. Playing as Grace makes you feel pure horror, and it really nails the horror survival genre. Notice how I said horror survival? I can't say horror, by the way. Oh my god. It's because it is more horror. It is more horror It is more horror oriented than survival horror. I can't stay in anymore. Oh my god. When I think about survival horror, I think RE2 Remake, but the elements of Grace's campaign leans heavily towards oh my god, I cannot say horror rather than survival. But honestly, from first impressions, I absolutely disliked the beginning because of how many enemies they threw at you, while also only giving you practically nothing in terms of resources. Because I played on Standard Classic, which was the hardest difficulty before Insanity, it was really frustrating that I kept losing a shit ton of progress every time I died, and there are so many enemies throughout the map that I died very frequently. Honestly, I think you should just disregard everything I just said because honestly, it just might be a skill issue. I'm dead. However, the absolute best, the biggest strength about Grace's that has really done very well, in my opinion, are the stalkers. There are so many stalkers that absolutely scare the shit out of me in Grace's campaign. And the best part about stalkers are most of the times, notice how I said most of the time, they're not really scripted. You have the obvious one, the girl, and What? Sure, she has a bunch of scripted events, but every time I turn a corner and she's just there, dude, I get absolutely scared shitless. Her parts in the beginning and in the basement are honestly really good, and especially, it really makes me feel helpless. There are other two mini stalkers in the game. There's the chef, which is in the West Wing, and I feel like every time I go somewhere, he's just in the way. In the East Wing, however, we have Chunk, the big fat dude in the West Wing. Listen, Emily, just be quiet. And I literally fear turning the corner and seeing his fat ass in the way, or even worse, just looking at me. Obviously, you can just kill them, but at the same time, you really can't, because I don't think there's enough resources to try and kill the both of them. Me personally, my playthrough, I was only able to kill the chef, and Leon killed Chunk. One thing that I found also really interesting about Resident Evil 9 is how they designed the safe rooms in this game. In previous Resident Evil games, especially RE2 Remake, every time you went into a safe room, Mr. X just seems like they don't want to go in that safe room because, oh my god, he's in a safe room, I can't go in there. However, in Resident Evil 9, they actually have low reasons to why they can't go in the safe room. For example, the girl is clearly weak to light, and Chunk is just too big to go inside. The way the zombies are in this game are also absurdly freaky. Like, the cleaning ladies rubbing your face every time they hit you is kind of horrifying. Or when they lick your face and bite your face that's such a freaky death scene, bruh. I wish that her campaign had more stuff for her arsenal, but I guess I kind of understand what they were really going for by having a limited amount of resources, making it more horror oriented. She only has her main pistol and the Requiem and the other pistol in the game. And if you want to get the automatic pistol, that's a completionist pistol, so you can't even get it. At the end where you have to fight the lickers, they also gave her acid, which is actually pretty powerful. So overall, I would say that Grace's part really excels at the horror aspect and is absolutely horrifying. Now on to Leon. I honestly really like Leon's gameplay, but I would say that it's only decent. Despite his gameplay being decent, the systems that they kind of implemented are a big downgrade compared to the systems in Resident Evil 4. For example, there is absolutely no resource management in Leon's campaign. I made the absolute worst mistake of upgrading the pistol first, and it's honestly kind of useless because with the abundance of ammo that they give you for weapons, there is no point in using the pistol. One time, I got bored and I only used the shotgun for a period of time, and to be honest, I didn't even run out of ammo once. It really does get boring at times when I literally don't even have to think about what resources I'm using. Like, I don't even have to think about what I have to upgrade because you would just upgrade the strongest weapon, not the Requiem, the second strongest weapon, I guess, and you'd practically never run out of ammo for it. While we're on the topic of upgrades, the upgrade system in this game is honestly kind of lame. It's just a shittier version of the Resident Evil 4 upgrade system. Also, this is kind of a nitpick, but why is there no laser sight? Why do they have optics instead of laser sight? It's kind of, it's not tickling my balls, you know what I'm saying? Like, Resident Evil is kind of known for its laser sights, but this game doesn't have any? Like, why? Regardless, in Resident Evil 4, if you fully upgraded a weapon, you would get a special upgrade at the end of the upgrade tree that was unique to the weapon. I remember the SG-09 had the 5 times critical rate, the Punisher had 5 times penetration, half the weapons had 1.5x damage, and etc. In Resident Evil 9, you upgrade each part twice and that's it. Like, come on. Oh, and did you know that you can craft bullets as Leon? Other than herbs and grenades, I have never crafted bullets for any of my weapons in the first playthrough. And guess what? The most fun weapon to use, the Requiem, you can't even fucking craft bullets for. Like, this kind of pissed me off. They also bring back the case system from Resident Evil 4 and Village, but they honestly give you so much space that I never even touched it the whole game. My biggest complaint in Resident Evil 4 Remake is the auto sort, and it comes back in this game. But in this game, I never even used it once because there is nothing to sort. I literally just pick everything up because I don't even have to manage my inventory. On weapon variety, nothing to me really stands out. Like, I really wish there was more weapons in this game. The unique weapons are only available after you finish the game. Like, one of the most fun weapons to use, the Redemption, can only be unlocked after the game. Like, it would have been nice if I found it while exploring Raccoon City. On the topic of exploration, there's absolutely no reason to explore as Leon. Obviously, I explored everything because I'm a little loot goblin, but I kind of feel like I wasted my time doing that. Like I said earlier, so many resources are just handed to you, and there's not really a unique thing you can find by exploring. Most of the time, you just find credits, and I feel that they give you so many credits anyway that it doesn't really matter. There's a unique weapon and charm here and there, but the weapons you find don't even outshine the weapons you already have, so what is the point? One weapon that is also with you throughout the game is the hatchet. You use it to parry everybody as Leon, but in Requiem, I feel that parries don't feel as satisfying as Resident Evil 4. And it's pretty much a cheat code because you can just fix it instantly. And for the charms, I don't even like most of the ones you find. Sure, they boost firepower, but your firepower is already insanely powerful that you can't live without it. Unless you play on Insanity, of course. Leon's campaign isn't all bad though, as there are definitely some moments that got me really hyped. The spider boss fight, the motorcycle chase scene, Mr. X fight, and even Gideon's first phase. Like, the Mr. X fight is honestly pretty vanilla and simple, but it's one of my favorite fights because you fight an old enemy and it really shows you how far Leon has grown as a person. In Resident Evil 2, he was this helpless police officer who just had to run from Mr. X. Here, he parries Mr. X's attacks like it's nothing. The greatest thing I hate about this game, Resident Evil 9, are the villains. There are two villains in this game, Victor Gideon and Zeno. I absolutely despise this, as they absolutely do nothing with Zeno as a villain. When he was first revealed, it seemed like they were revealing that Wesker was actually still alive, but guess what? Nah, it's actually a different character who does absolutely nothing special the whole game. Everything that he can do, Gideon could have done instead, but what they did was that they made Gideon disappear halfway through the story, only to come back at the very end. This is unrelated, but I also have no idea why we are fighting him. Didn't he say like he wanted to destroy all the viruses and bioweapons? Like, isn't that like aligning with our interests? I don't know. I didn't do enough research for it. Whatever. Anyways, Zeno literally becomes father for Gideon, and Gideon literally just turns into an enemy for Leon. Also, why is the final encounter just reused from Resident Evil 3? I get that he has the Nemesis parasite, but come on, bro. That final encounter felt so lame because it's just so reused. Finally, onto my nitpicks. This game has no replayability, bro. First, there's no ranking system. There's no in-game timer. Well, there is one if you haven't done the Speed Demon challenge, but once you do it, it's gone. There's no explanation of why T-Virus just killed 6 people and why Leon is infected. Or what happened to Ada Wong? Where's Ada Wong? No mention of Claire? Jill? They're survivors of Raccoon City too. Carlos? Where are they at? Where are they at, Capcom? Where are they at? Overall, I would say that Resident Evil 9 is a decent Resident Evil game, but I don't think it's really breaking new ground. Grace's campaign is one of the greatest horror games I've ever played, but Leon's campaign has just fun gameplay, but its systems are just so boring and so unreplayable. Maybe I'm just comparing heavily to Resident Evil 4, but in my opinion, when a game sets a precedent so great for Resident Evil, I believe I can complain when the game downgrades from this precedent that it set. Having 2 villains also just hurts the game, and I feel that it would have just been better if it was just Victor Gideon as the villain. Overall, the game's just kind of mid, but I hope the DLC that they release is good. Okay, I'm done.